Hello and welcome to Computer Tech and More. Today I'm doing my follow-up video with all my storage values. So up here were SSDs. Then I had USB SSDs. The green rows here are hard drives, and the blue rows were 2.5-inch hard drives. So I've consolidated data right here. So we have Western Digital Blue 2.5-inch, the Seagate Momentous X, it's another 2.5-inch, another Western Digital Blue 2.5-inch 750 gig, I think Samsung version of a 750 gig, and two more 1 terabyte Western Digital Blue 2.5-inch hard drives. So the reason to go with a 2.5-inch is for space. However, at this time, for me personally, I find 2.5-inch hard drives are dead to me. If they're just not worth getting, you might as well just buy an SSD for the storage. They are more expensive, the SSD, than buying a hard drive, but if you need more than 1 terabyte, the 2.5-inch hard drives, they don't make more than 1 terabyte. At the time that I posted this video, I haven't located one. So again, these are all the hard drives that I own and were able to test, so they're in working condition when I tested them and had no errors. Just as a note, one of the things that I do when a hard drive tends to develop errors is I saved one of them and I put a bunch of data on it, non-personal data, just like crap videos, so I don't care if they get corrupted, and I use it to write over my old hard drives before I would sell it. And as a note, I have sold hard drives online to other people. I've only done local pickup, and I always test my hard drive using Crystal Disk Info to make sure that it's in full working condition before selling it. This is just something I do, and I recommend that you do, and don't be a scalper, scammer, and anything like that. So on to this video. So I have a Western Digital Red, and this is the exact model number. Western Digital Red 4 terabyte. I went a long period of time where I wasn't buying Seagate. I had a lot of bad experiences with them. Early on when I started becoming a data hoarder, more or less, and I had them fail on me quite often, so I only own a few Seagates and their newer ones, so that's where you're going to see a lot of Western Digital. So I am a Western Digital fan for hard drives. Western Digital Green 4 terabyte, a couple different versions. Then I have I tested Red 6 terabytes. I bought a newer Red 3 terabyte. I used that as mass storage on my desktop for a while. So these two were like the first version of their special firmware hardware on it for dealing with NAS related activities. So I had them in a Drobo. And then I wanted vibration resistance for my mass storage, so I bought this 3 terabyte. Then I jumped straight to 10 terabytes from 6. This is my first helium drive. And then, not sure what that is. That must be a Western Digital 4 terabyte, where I just needed another drive. And then I bought an Ultrastar because I heard good reviews before Western Digital purchased them. And one of my key takeaways with the enterprise class drives is they are noisier than just the regular Reds. So none of these are shingle drives. I do not own any. I do not plan to own any. Then I have a Red Plus. So this was after the shingled ones came out. This isn't shingled, but it is an air-filled terabyte as opposed to helium. It is quite a bit noisier than the helium one I have, so I don't actually like it as much, and I found that it ran hotter. And then I have an Ultrastar 18 terabyte, Western Digital Red Pro 18 terabyte, and Exos 18 terabyte, a Iron Wolf Pro 16 and a Red Pro 16. So the 6 terabyte drives topped out at 183 megabyte per second reads and about 131 megabyte per second writes. The greens actually showed a lot of good performance in read and writes for me, and all these were done with them as a newer state, pretty much nothing on it. So this is the best performance you're going to see out of it, and as you write more data onto your hard drive, it actually gets slower because it moves towards the inner ring, so out from the exterior to the interior. But it's a gradual decrease in performance. So the Western, I think I did the Western Digital 10 terabyte, got 200 megabytes per second read and 155 write. So you could have now like 2 of these hooked up to your external hub at Gen 1 USB speeds, and you would start to get really close to bottlenecking it. In my other video where I did the Sabrent 5 bay, I talk about a little bit about this. And then the UltraStar gets 259 megabytes per second, and the write was 263. So I'm really impressed just how fast hard drives are gotten, because if you look at my oldest one, a 3 terabyte, it was getting around 158 megabits per second read and a little bit less than that, 151 write. So then 18 terabyte drives, the write is almost 270 and the read was 270, the write was 268. And then between the UltraStar and the Pro are almost identical in performance. You could almost call this margin of error, the 266 and 265 respectively. And the Exos, I don't know why I keep saying Exynos, is my fastest at 291 and 282. The Iron Wolf Pro is the next. And then the Western Digital Pro 16 is around the same performance as the 18 terabyte. So this just really shows a lot about how much performance hard drives have gotten. So we'll go to my next chart. I know we spent a lot of time there because I talked about a lot of different things. So sequential is what you're going to find the most important for something like a NAS or a DAS, where you're going to be reading your data sequentially most of the time off of it. But if you're doing a lot of read and write random stuff, we'll get to that in a little bit. So again, any missing data is I updated my Crystal Disk Mark, and I just did not rerun the test because I did not have that hard drive anymore. It had been decommissioned or some reason kind of like that. Or I just didn't feel like rerunning the test because I had it installed in a NAS or DAS and didn't want to risk messing up the data that was on it. But key takeaways again, the Exos is a top performer, 288, 286. So I'm going to do read and then write. Western Digital Pro, 265, 266. UltraStar, 267, 268. Versus the Western Digital Red Original, Red 10 terabyte, 193 and 140. One thing I do want to note, I know what this 4 terabyte, this is a Iron Wolf non-pro 4 terabyte. I just needed an extra hard drive. And the larger the capacity, the higher performance it will be, just because all the sectors will be closer together. And then the Red Pro, Wolf Pro. So if you buy a modern 4 terabyte nowadays, you're still going to see lower performance somewhere in this ballpark up here. So that would be like 162 read, 158, 155 writes, as opposed to these 200, near 200 value numbers. But anything over, I want to say like 14, 16 terabytes, you're going to get that. So on to the ridiculous tests, because hard drives are terrible at random performance. But we're going to look at it anyways. I don't know how the Exos managed such good write, but it is the outlier at 17 here. And then my two blues are random. I'm gonna made it a little easier to read, but I'm gonna bring it back. So on average, 3, 2, 3, almost 3, 2.4. So hard drives are just not good at random performance. So if you know you're going to be doing a lot of random read writes, don't get a hard drive. But for using it as a NAS, for bulk storage, for sequential operations, these are fantastic. So I want to reiterate a couple points about going Pro and Enterprise class hard drives. So that's the Exos, the Pro, and the UltraStars. They run hotter and they run louder. If you are noise sensitive or the device is in a noise sensitive area for you, don't get them. I also found that the regular Iron Wolf is noisier than the Western Digital regular Reds. Again, non-shingled. So you want to confirm that you're not buying the shingled ones. I believe most of them are the Plus series, and I do prefer, personally, the helium filled over the Air one, which is this Red Plus 10 terabyte. So this is my data transfer test. It is again, how many gigabytes is it? A 13 gig, sorry, I misspoke on another video, or maybe earlier in this one, 13 gigabytes in size of 3 files. And it transfers the data to it, so you get the read performance, because I personally think that's more telling of a drive than the write performance. So the Western, or the 2.5-inch ones top out at around 100 megabytes per second, and the 3.5-inch ones are just much faster. And sorry if you hear my child crying in the background. He's just taking a nap. I don't know why the Iron Wolf Pro 16 terabyte scored so low here at 80. Sometimes I think that there's a misalignment with when it starts the test and where the head is. So it just doesn't achieve the full performance the drive is capable of. And it'll keep doing that until the drive is reconnected. Restarting the test doesn't always fix the problem. But here we are, the Red Pro 16 terabyte got 260 almost. The Exos got 258. The Red 18 terabyte got 260. The UltraStar got 274. Red Plus got 80. While the Red Helium got 132. The Seagate Iron Wolf regular 4 terabyte got 178. So it punches above its, I'm going to say, a storage size class. What did we do? The UltraStar 250. UltraStar 18 274. So this is a sequential write test, and you can clearly see how much performance you can get out of these newer hard drives. There are some caveats to this, where hard drives are still at risk of head crashes and other failures more often than a SATA. Personally, that's what I've continued to read. So make sure to have at least a RAID 5 for data redundancy, and have a backup. Back it up, back it up, back it up. If it's important, have a backup. And preferably have your backup be a RAID 5 as well, or a RAID 1. So it's, if you're only having 2 hard drives, so it's a duplicate. But yeah, I have a bunch of different hard drives, so I tested them all out, and here we are. And again, the pros and enterprise ones are run hotter and louder. So take that as you will for how you use these drives. But thank you all for watching, and have a great day.